Let's get started.
By one estimate, nearly 50,000 veterans will experience homelessness each year.
New York has been facing the lowest temperatures in decades, also the highest number of homeless.
A growing number of homeless people in the U.S. are children and teenagers.
New York City's homeless population has reached an all-time high, more than 60,000 people. And what makes that figure all the more alarming is that 25,000 are children.
There just needs to be more people caring, you know, like more people realizing the situation that we're in and that we're not all bad people.
Conversations has been an incredible journey for me. This entire first season has been a whirlwind. From the very first episode where we went out with Henry Thomas and Free Food for the Homeless to the most recent one where I sat on the street for about 14 hours with homeless people in the rain. This journey has transformed me. And we weren't going to make this last episode this way, but I felt that I needed to explain myself and explain what I went through and the big change that this happened in my life, so hopefully there could be a change in your life. So let's start from the beginning. Henry Thomas, Free Food for the Homeless.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for any disturbance. Is there anyone on this train who's hungry? Especially the children. Ladies and gentlemen, we feed the homeless and the hungry on a daily basis.
I met Henry back on the subway about 2 years ago. When I saw him, I automatically was touched. I thought it was one of the most beautiful things that a human being could do. He was out there giving his all and feeding people and, you know, collecting some donations from people just to continuously feed people. So immediately, as he says in his speech, I went to Facebook and I liked him on Facebook. Now, I never thought that my journey with this series would start with him, but it did, and I'm so glad it did. Because when I met him back 2 years ago, I had a very brief conversation with him. And fast forward 2 years later, I reach out to him, say, hey, I want to interview you for a documentary series that I'm working on. He says, yeah, sure, why not? I'd love to do that. I'd love to, you know, promote my company and show our mission and what we're all about. His story and his organization touched me so much that when I filmed that segment months ago, since then, I have actually become the vice president of Free Food for the Homeless and the Hungry. And together with Henry, his team, and some other new members that we've picked up along the way, we're legitimizing the company even more. We're growing it and bringing it to new heights that it's never been to. And all because of this. All because of this series. My whole life literally changed because of that very first episode. You guys saw it. That was the first time I'd ever been out with Henry and gone out and had a conversation with him that wasn't via Facebook Messenger. And now Henry is like family to me. And what we do every day in feeding the homeless and feeding the hungry, it doesn't even feel like it's charitable work anymore. It feels like it's something I'm meant to do. After speaking with Henry, I was so baffled by how many homeless people there actually were. In reality, the series was only supposed to be about 2 episodes, 2 to 3 episodes. Starting with Henry, second episode was also going to be with Henry, and then third episode was going to be some sort of finale. But then I became so curious of what was going on, so we went to go meet up with Kimberly Gambino of Helping Hand Rescue Mission. Now, what Helping Hand does for the local community on Long Island is absolutely beautiful, because homelessness in the suburbs is also a real thing. It's not just in big cities, it's also in the suburbs. I started seeing the people in the suburbs having the same issue as the people in the city. There are homeless people everywhere. There are people in poverty or very, very close to homelessness everywhere in the world. And what is our government doing about it? So that's why in episode 3, I went and I spoke to everyday people to find out what they think. And I could not believe the misconceptions, right? Everyone thought, or everyone just assumed the majority of the people are there probably because of substance abuse. The majority of the people felt weird giving money because they didn't know if, that money would go somewhere bad. And I interviewed more people than were even on that episode. And the answers that I got varied from people being extremely compassionate and people being like, "Nah, I don't want to see these people. I feel bad, but I don't want anything to do with that." And that is a major issue. People have these misconceptions. They have these ideas that homeless people are one way, or that all homeless people are substance abusers, or homeless people got there because they wanted to be there. But that's not the truth for the majority of the homeless people. The majority of the homeless people are mentally ill, or veterans, or are children and families, people who had jobs, who had normal lives, whatever normal means, but they had normal lives and they lost everything. So fast forward a little bit to now when I'm sitting on the street. This is I won't be eating at all today. I also won't be on any sort of device or any phone except for my camera occasionally, checking with you guys. And it's raining, so that's not great. But that was an experience that I will never in my life ever forget. It made me feel things that I've never felt in my life. And I remember my brother saw me that day and said, "Ethan, are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Nick, you just don't seem the same." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, you just seem weird. Something seems wrong." And I told him, no, it's just that this day just taught me so much about myself and about how lucky I am, how lucky we all are just to be able to have a roof over our head. Doesn't matter how big that roof is. We have a roof to put over our head. People don't have that. In New York, in the winter, I mean, it drops down to 5 degrees sometimes, even lower. People are out on the street like that. In the pouring rain, in the snow, people are out on the street. And not many people are doing much about it. Specifically, our government is not doing much about it. Now, I've done research, and I still am doing research. I'm still learning, even after this series ends. I'm still trying to educate myself more on why homelessness is not one of the things we talk about most in this country, and why homelessness is not being taken care of on a larger scale. I don't have all the answers, but I know I'm going to work to find answers, to find a solution, because no one should be living on the streets. Not in this great nation, and absolutely no one should be walking these streets hungry. That's why I love these missions. Every mission, every organization that we met along this series, absolutely fantastic. From Free Food for the Homeless and the Hungry. I know I'm with them, so I don't want to be, subjective to them, but I mean, Free Food for the Homeless and the Hungry, Helping Hand Rescue Mission, Project Humanize, the Joy J Initiative. These incredible organizations are going out to help people. And these everyday people, as you saw, Emily, Crew, I mean, going out there and giving their time, their weekends, their days off from work, their days off from school, to give whatever it is, whether it be some socks, scarves, hats, snacks, whatever it is. Those are the people, that's what we need more of. Those are the people we need to model our society after. Because if the government's not going to do anything, it's up to us. It's up to people like Henry and Kimberly and these incredible people who are out there every day. What I learned most from this entire journey was that anything can happen like that. Anything. Life is short. Life is spontaneous. Do not take anything for granted. And no matter how cheesy this sounds, have a conversation with people. Take a second to learn what they're about. Because I learned so much from all of these people that I've met, these homeless people, these people who are going out there and doing good. Every time I'm out with Henry and Free Food for the Homeless and I meet different homeless people, I learned so much about them and about the world. Have that conversation with people. Promise you, you will not regret it. And another big thing, what can you do for the homeless in your neighborhood and in your part of the world? Well, it's simple. Find out ways you can volunteer. Find organizations, because they're there. And if they're not there, message me. I'd be happy to talk to you on how you can get started in helping people. Steps on how you can grow an organization from nothing to something. But going out there and helping people is not that hard. Going out there and having a conversation with people is not that hard. Anyone can do it. So guys, I thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Conversations is just getting started. We have a brand new season coming very soon. I thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to these stories. And I hope and pray that you have a conversation.